I think we'll start with, how does higher consciousness differ from ordinary awareness?
How does higher consciousness differ from ordinary awareness? In you there is another level of reality. In you there is a zone that is unbelievable. In you is a state that is beyond definition. That state is emanating and energizing many different levels of consciousness and awareness in you. Higher consciousness is when your localized personal consciousness is elevated, energized, touching the highest aspect in you. This is higher consciousness. Higher consciousness is when your local state or your personal state or your relative state is combining with your eternal state. Higher consciousness is the aspect of consciousness in you that is completely connected to God, to reality, to the ultimate reality.
So you make a gesture like this when you're speaking about that. Can you talk about that?
It is that your ruh, your soul, is connected completely to the eternal soul, to the divine soul. So the gesture is indicating that connection. It is indicating that complete connectedness, that complete unicity between your local state or your so-called individuated soul and the eternal soul. Your soul and the eternal soul are one. The eternal soul, the Quran has a very beautiful ayah. It says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. I created you from one self. And there is a response that says, رُوحٍ وَاحِدَةٍ, one soul. So it is a very beautiful disclosure that indicates to us that your ruh, your soul, your reality is unified. You are one. And you are, by definition, at one. Surah Al-Mulk has another very special, profound indication. That is, you most certainly have memory in you of that which was before time. That is your ruh. You already know who you are. It is there waiting to be recognized, recognizing itself all the time. Your ruh is radiating eternity all the time, but it is allowing it to happen. It is allowing your eternal nature to be born, to come
And is
forth.
this because of the primordial awareness or awakening?
The primordial covenant is alastu bi rabbikum. The primordial covenant is that you have been in pre-eternity. You have stood before, your ruh has testified. Am I not your Lord? Yes, we testify. It means that you have been acknowledged. You have been stamped with the eternal presence. Why do we say this? Allama Adam asma al-husna, meaning, and we gave Adam all the names, all the possibilities. We created Adam in our image. He is created in my image. Your reality is the reality of Allah. Allah is in you. Allah's nur is in you as a ruh. Your ruh is not different from the nur of Allah. The nur of Allah is in you. So higher consciousness is when your personal state begins to oscillate with your ruh. When your ruh begins to resonate its amazing cosmic energies and frequencies, and you begin to touch what we call higher consciousness. It is a miracle. It is a gift. Higher consciousness is a gift. Higher consciousness has been given to human beings by virtue of Allama Adam Asma al-Husna. We created him in our image, and he is of a noble stature. So you have been imbued with something that is a treasure beyond measure. This is higher consciousness. Is higher consciousness different from natural awareness? You are naturally aware by virtue, you are aware by virtue of being sentient. You are sentient by virtue of being alive. Your sentiency relates to your intelligence. Your intelligence relates to the way you relate and interpret life. So you, by virtue of the natural intelligence in you, which is a field emanating from higher consciousness or from your ruh is pure intelligence. Your ruh is the ultimate intelligence manifesting itself in your heart. So your intelligence, your aql, is the human intellect, is born, the human soul is unique. So you are aware in a way that is unique by virtue of being a human being. So you are naturally aware, you are spontaneously aware, you are aware by virtue of your primordial configuration, which is your fitrah.
Okay.
Your fitrah is a unique cosmic pattern that is specific to a human being. And the ruh of a man is not the same as the ruh of a cat, or of a dog, or of a pig, or of a lion, or of a lioness, or of a panther, or of a gazelle. Every ruh, all the arwah are a little bit different. All of it is emanating from the celestial soul, the eternal soul. These amazing arwah dancing in eternity, looking for an abode to manifest themselves, to be alive, for a vehicle. This is all part of Allah's amazing radiations. The eternal is pulsating these incredible cosmic energy packets that are the arwah. It is incredible. The ruh of a cat knows exactly what to do at every single step of its evolution as a human being. But the human being has this possibility of confusion because of the potential. The potential is recognition, total recognition of the divine presence, this little entity. So it is amazing. It is big news.
So how is it that some people see the door and other people walk past it?
The door is there only when you are really ready to accept that there is a door. If you do not believe there is a door, if you are still, if you like meandering around in your illusions and your confusions, it is unlikely that your eyesight will be clear enough to acknowledge that there need to be steps taken, that there must be a door, that one must go through it. And there are those people who no longer need a door. They've gone through it. They've walked through the door and they realized the door was there only to recognize that it was needed only to leave behind a certain level of life, which was before they took a breath, before they were capable of breathing. And once that first gasp of real air, of fresh air, that first ray of sunlight comes, it is not the same anymore. You have gone through the door. But finding the door, seeing the door, walking towards the door, accepting that there's a door, beating around the bush about going through the door, that is all different, if you like, aspects of the confusion of the nafs and the dilemma and the drama that we are, if you like, playing out in our own self-disclosure. Why don't some people see the door? It is that when you were an adolescent, you had no idea what it was like being an adult. When a deep sea diver or someone who lives in a jungle doesn't understand what the plains are. A man who lives in a desert has no idea what the peak of a mountain looks like. He's never been to the summit. But he may have dreams. He may have visions of what it is. But to get to the peak, get to the mountain first.
I don't think you've answered the question, Mohammed, because the question is, why do some see it and why don't? Why do some people walk past it? And it's something that is very relevant.
It is that...
Because it applies to everyday... we see the same thing, but we see it differently.
It is that people are called in different ways. But there is also this amazing opportunity, but also this conundrum of being confused. And that confusion is the nafs. What is confused, what's unsaid, is the nafs. The nafs doesn't want to give up, because you need a nafs. As an adolescent, you need a nafs so that you can accept there are all these explosions that are called hormones that are pushing you in a certain direction. As a young adult, it is the same, but it's a bit more acute. As a mature person, it's there, but you have it under control. So you realize there is an animal. And that animal has to function and operate according to the laws of nature. Because nature's organization pattern is perfect. So that is the first assumption. It includes confusion. And for some, the degree of that confusion is different. Waking up is not the same for everybody. It is a gift. It is the most natural process, yet for others it is more difficult. But the more difficult it is, the greater the potency and the greater the opportunity. The greater your suffering is, the greater the blessing is upon you. Because the greater the possibility you have for realization and recognition. Because you're going to want it. You're going to want something that is already yours, but you don't know you have it. So you are in a dilemma of having something yet you don't know you have it.
Mm.
And it is about this amazing process of believing that there's something that is yours. It is this illusion of acquirement, of attainment. I'm going to get it. There's nothing to get. It is about losing. The more you lose, the more you lose, the more you let go, the more you really learn how to begin to drift into the ocean of awareness, into the ocean of, if you like, consciousness. The more you realize that Allah is in charge, Allah is with you, the hand of Allah is behind everything, you don't know, and the closer you come to uncertainty, the closer you come to that which is truly uncertain, the more likely you are to touch upon real certainty, total certainty. And total certainty is your ruh. Your ruh is the only thing that is certain because it is constant. Everything else is changing. Everything else will show you, it will betray you by virtue of it not being durable. And there's nothing wrong with that because that betrayal is the other side of trust. It has to be that because it is a disguise. It is the truth disguising itself as some form or the other to bait you and coerce you and to show you and to indicate this is what it is. So the more you recognize it, the more you realize that what you are looking for, you already have, but you don't always know that you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that ghafla, it is that forgetfulness, so it is dhikr. And that dhikr is to take you back into the zone of complete ibadah, complete remembrance, meaning you are with your ruh, you are unified. The more your ruh is radiating as light, the less likely you are to fall into the traps of the nafs.
Mm-hmm.
The nafs is a shadow. It is shadow upon shadow upon shadow. But once you start recognizing it, you realize that what a human being is an amazing vehicle of consciousness. You are an amazing cosmic mechanism that is here to perceive the ultimate reality. So even your natural awareness, even the subtlety of the steam of the teacup, or the change in the afternoon sun at 2 minutes past 5, just as you begin to sense all these amazing subtle changes. You are aware radically. You are no longer in the stupor of the animal's awareness. You are now a human being. So you are aware in a different way. So it is not quite the same, but they relate to each other. Awareness and consciousness relate to each other. They connect very much. The more you calibrate with higher consciousness, the more likely you are to be aware spontaneously, naturally, dynamically, in a way that is, if you like, being ordained for human being. But at the level that is harmonious and appropriate for you. And that acknowledgement is also part of Allah's design, of God's, if you like, orchestration. That it has to be this way. Because you need to accept what is going on. Because you want to accept it. You don't want to be puzzled. You don't want to be confused. So when you are really in deep acceptance, everything makes sense. Irrespective of your terminology. You are aware, naturally. And you accept the circumstances of your life. You accept your condition. There are no dilemmas. There is only disclosure. There is only Allah's, if you like, manifesting Himself to you in different ways. There is only this amazing expression of consciousness. And you are capable of exploring it. And if you are fortunate, enjoying it as life unfolds.
Okay. Can you claim higher consciousness without good character?
Good character, high consciousness leads to good character.
Okay.
Good character leads to high consciousness. And we are always being polished because we are prone to error, we make mistakes, we feel, we sense, we fall in love, we fall out of love, we care, we share, we do all of these amazing, beautiful things that are part of the natural designs that have to do with being a human being. So it is all acceptable as long as you are capable of appropriately interpreting it, reading it correctly. So the question is, you find that the travails of your life push you to polishing your character, push you to polishing your conduct, push you to, if you are calibrating, if you are resonating with higher consciousness, you have no option but to move higher, or what you feel to be higher, along the arc of whatever it is, virtue, behavior, conduct. You want to do better. Until such time you know that whatever you've done is perfectly correct in that moment, no matter what. And that you did the best you could, as long as you acknowledge the circumstances for what they are, exactly as they are. Without embellishment, without projection, without bringing in your own delusions as to what it might be. It is what it is. It is the way it is what it is, and it is perfect. And there is something there for you as you recognize it, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, be humble with it, and be correct in taking it in. It is what it is. Be courageous in one's life, but equally be humble. And your character will be polished naturally by virtue of your experience. And if you are intelligent, you will reflect upon these things and realize that you do the best you can, and you hope that others will forgive you for your errors. And you must apologize to them. If you can. You must apologize to the people you love and tell them these things.
You owe me a lot of apologies.
I accept my apologies. Ingrid is going to accept my apologies. Everyone's going to. We do the best we can, and we trust in Allah that Allah is with you. Allah is guiding you. Allah is showing you what you need to be doing. And as time goes by, you realize that Allah's ways are beyond us.
So is tawakkul part of your higher consciousness?
Tawakkul is being cautiously aware. It is a byproduct of high consciousness.
Tawakkul. Trust in,
It is a byproduct of being, or it's a byproduct of high consciousness, but it is about a personal state that is sensitive in a way that is appropriate. It is about appropriateness. So if there's inappropriateness, then nature corrects it. Fitra is about being what you're meant to be. That's all that it is.
that's innate, isn't it? It's what you're born with. Your fitra is...
Fitra is the primordial pattern
Okay.
of how you are meant to be. This is the deen, this is the perfection of the deen.
And the fitra is towards goodness rather than towards...
The fitra is towards the natural way in which a man should be. Or should I say man, meaning a human being, which includes women. Naturally, we use the word man, but it is man and woman. So a way a human being should be. It is that you are rendered into the state that you are meant to be, but it is a big thing. It's not a small thing. Fitra is the beginning. Realization is the middle, enlightenment is the end. But it is all fitri, it is all original, it is all organic, it is all spontaneous, it is all spontaneous, it is all, if you like, part of an organization that has to do with your ruh. You discovering who you really are. You living by who you really are. You now are who you really are. And there's without doubt. So it is different stages in this amazing evolutionary arc. It is acknowledging that there is a fire, being heated up by the fire by virtue of making it and preparing it, knowing what a fire is, and then discovering that you are now on fire in your heart. You know what it is. But the last step is much more difficult because it implies a jump in consciousness whereby there is no more the possibility of error. Everything is perfect. It's not what you think it is. Your ruh is eternal. You as a nafs are transitory. You as a nafs are not the same as you are. You are the same but not the same. You are yes and you are no. So even the dualities that you interpret don't quite meet your own wish to recognize yourself because you are a ruh. You know who you are.
So are you always, do some people always attain the level of higher consciousness and remain there, or do you fluctuate?
There are people who are capable of abiding in what they call ruhaniya, or their true nature, or being, whatever language they use, by virtue of their devotion and their commitment and their practice. And that is, the word for that is realization. So, or abiding. And it requires diligence and discipline and commitment and seriousness and care and caution. It requires many different facets of the evolutionary pattern of a human being, of a woman, to be in place. The fitrah needs to be in place. Everything needs to be in place to allow all these different things to come together. And you realize Allah is doing it, or consciousness is doing it, but you need to allow it to happen, and you need to ensure that you don't interfere with what is going on. All of it is it is a miracle that this animal, that is a byproduct of billions of years of sentient evolution, that includes the sentiencies of all sorts of species and molecules and bugs and viruses, is now capable of a higher level of intelligence. That which is, the grass-eating cow, the water-drinking camel, and the divine recognition of a man. It is all in you by virtue of the cosmic programming of your ruh. The sensitivity of a cat, the robustness of a horse, all these amazing patterns of consciousness. You have all of them in you because you can recognize them. You would not be able to recognize them if you don't have them in you. So abiding in higher consciousness is your work. And in order to do that, it is this constant reference, or constantly touching upon the higher level of reality in you. This is where dhikr comes in, this is where ibadah comes in, this is where really losing everything all the time comes in. Really practicing the art of disappearing from everything. And you find that your inner calibration, the speed at which you catch the nafs, the speed at which you recognize the shadows, that is what changes. You don't hesitate. You begin to witness, you recognize, this is a higher level of consciousness. You see what the thief is, you begin to understand what it's doing, and you begin to change your interpretation of it. At first you resent it. When you really start seeing it, you hate it. You will hate yourself. And there will come a point where you will smile and smile and smile, and smile and smile and smile. Realize this is a dancing shadow. And then of course there is the point where the shadow, where it is a joke. It is, you see it as a little bit of a sample, a little bit of dilution of some aspect of the truth. So you recognize all the shadows are just diluted forms of light. And then you are really now moving into, you have now walked through the door. You are now in Allah's presence. Now it is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul. Because now you can really say there is no God other than, there is only Allah. There is one. And Muhammad is the example, he is the metaphor, he is the mirror, he is the prophetic being, he is the enlightened, he is the realized master that points to it, that indicates it, that mirrors it. If you are Muslim, or if you follow Muhammad's way, and therefore call himself a Muslim, which is also a word. It means he is in dynamic submission. From Salim, Salam, meaning contentment. Salam and Salim is from perfect contentment. So if you are Muslim, you are perfectly content. Meaning you are a ruh. Meaning you are living by your ruh. Meaning it is ruhani. Meaning it is ruhaniya. Meaning you are completely, meaning you are realized. Therefore, if you are a Muslim, you are realized. So this is the challenge to those who call themselves Muslims. We have an amazing path.
Alhamdulillah.
Next question.
Are you okay to go on, or?
See if there's another question. We may have touched upon something there in the other question. Beautiful question.
How does my higher consciousness deepen my relationship with Allah?
The more you're resonating with higher consciousness, the deeper your sense of, the more content you feel, the better you feel, and the more likely you are to be available to the lights of your ruh. And the lights of your ruh begin to shine and energize your being and your intelligence.
What's the difference between God consciousness and higher consciousness? Is it the same thing, or is there a difference?
Higher consciousness is your ruh. God consciousness is that you are aware of Allah. You are aware that there is a God. You are aware that there is something called God realization, meaning you're realizing God. God consciousness, you are aware of God. Higher consciousness is you doing it. It is connecting to, if you like, the God zone. So higher consciousness.
So you first got to be God conscious to have higher consciousness.
You're going to be God conscious to be. You have by resonating, by touching, by connecting to, by being in tune with higher consciousness. By, if you like, discovering the higher level of consciousness in you. You by definition, if you like, connected to the divine.
Now I would think if you're God conscious,
So
you find the higher consciousness.
So it is the way you see it. If you are God conscious, then you begin to touch higher consciousness. By being God conscious, you will naturally start touching upon higher consciousness, because you're now aware of the divine. So you therefore touch a higher level of consciousness.
Okay.
God consciousness is a very special thing because it is.
That's taqwa, right?
It is also terminological. Say God consciousness, the consciousness of God. Are you aware of what you are describing? God consciousness. So we talk about.
But you should be God conscious all the
So
time.
I am God conscious, and what about God's consciousness? What about His consciousness?
God doesn't need our consciousness, and He doesn't need a conscience, because we have to be conscious of Him. Don't get technical, Mama.
It is more about this amazing miracle of consciousness.
Absolutely. The
amazing miracle of these multiple layers of consciousness which are manifest in you. He is manifest in you. The nur of Allah is in your heart. So it is unbelievable. But it is nice to take some of these terms and throw them into the contemplative field and be in dhikr with them and see if they open for you. People take these things for granted. I hear God consciousness. Do you know what you're saying? Talking about the consciousness of Allah.
I think if you're God conscious, in my experience,
Pure consciousness.
No, in every action you do, you are aware that God is watching you. That's when you're conscious of God.
Amazing.
Because it is only then that you can attain higher consciousness.
Amazing. Incredible. Incredible. It is the more you begin to connect to God consciousness, to the consciousness of Allah, to pure consciousness, to consciousness itself, the more you begin to disclose in a way that is appropriate for a human being. I'm using this word disclose. The more you begin to unfold, the more you begin to discover what is absolutely appropriate for you according to who you really are, which is a ruh. Your ruh does not accept anything other than that. This is the secret to contentment. You cannot be happy any other way. It's just not possible. Everything else will never satisfy you. So it is a leap that we all take, and then it is sometimes accepting that you have taken that step. To really accept that you are now in another zone.
Yeah, but there's too many distractions. Even when you're just attaining the zone and you hear the waswas, so there's something distracting you, and I think that's where our human frailties come in, right?
Even that is part of Allah's design, but you have to acknowledge it. Even that is part of the way things are, if you like, orchestrated, but you have to be ready to accept it. And yet we all seek the perfect circumstance. We seek this perfect, if you like, expression. Naturally, we want perfection. We are recognizing higher consciousness all the time. We are recognizing perfection. We want to recognize the light of perfection by virtue of touching upon higher consciousness. Higher consciousness is lifting you out of a lower level of awareness, lower level of consciousness, into a higher level of consciousness. So you are moving into another zone.
So I've got a question. You mentioned the suffering and that nothing else will satisfy us. For me, that means one of the keys is making our suffering conscious. But to recognize how much we are suffering. If we don't recognize how much we're suffering, then and the nature of that suffering, then we can't get in the right direction. So can you talk about that? How do we make our suffering conscious and know why we suffer?
It is direct confrontation. Directly accepting it that my suffering is here and there is no way to go but to accept that this is what it is. I'm suffering, and one of the more beautiful practices is giving it to consciousness. Is to say, I'm suffering now, I give this back to, this is coming, this is what has emerged. I give this back to consciousness, and I see what consciousness decides, meaning I see what Allah decides. This is a very beautiful part. This is the way I interpret the way of Muhammad.
This is why Rahman.
A way of Muhammad. The way Muslims pray and repent, you give back to Allah. You give it to Allah. So ask Allah. Says you don't know what to do. You're in a mess. You're suffering. You're struggling. Give it to consciousness. Give it to Allah. And see what is the response. And confront it and sit with it and be with it. And the more you are there, the more you realize that your ruh will not accept it. But as time goes by, as you allow, as you abide, something may come about. Allah is with you. Allah is in charge. Consciousness will organize things around the way you see things. Consciousness takes it away. Meaning, it has come from consciousness, it will go back to consciousness. And the suffering has to be part of its other side, which is ease. So there must be something in it. There must be a meaning. There must be a lesson. There is something in that suffering that is for you to recognize. So it is abiding in that suffering. The Buddhists are very good at doing this.
Yeah, if you look at Surah Alam Nashra, فَإِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, with every difficulty comes ease. And it's something that I question quite often, particularly when I look at the plight of the Palestinians. But then maybe in godly terms, the time is relative.
To suffer is to burn. To suffer is to be on fire.
But this is
So the burning is your nafs.
This is an atrocity committed on human beings. It's hard.
It is understandable, but also realize that Allah's ways or God's ways are beyond us. We don't always see the big broad picture. We're not always privy to the ultimate picture.
And that's why we trust.
And it's not about validating anything or justifying anything. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It is about being willing to, if you want to, as is appropriate for you. This is the key issue. as is accessible to you, as is appropriate for you, willing to see things for what they are, and accepting what is yours to see.
Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakeel. Yeah, Allah's plan is the
These
best.
Allah's ways are that
Yeah.
you've been given a bit of energy to do something. You've been given this stone. If your house is on fire, you will throw the stone. I will throw the stone. You will
But for
throw
me,
the,
it is
we all throw the
heart-wrenching.
stone.
I can't even bear to look at it or hear about it anymore because
The enlightened being puts a stone down and says, Allah has taken my house from me.
When I see that, I have a sense that those children are paying for a global awakening.
Yeah.
That they are martyrs for truth. They're
Absolutely.
literally dying to wake up the whole world. That's the price of our awakening, is that.
Yeah.
Because nothing else seemed to wake us up.
It is that there is the push towards awakening, towards recognition, what we call it, towards a higher level of consciousness, towards discovering the truth. Is there no matter where you are, but it appears in the form that it needs to appear. So this is more difficult because we have a lot of tricks regarding language. So you realize culture is a very, very important issue. It is a very key issue regarding differentiation.
It's sort of a veil, it's a fog.
It is a veil, but it is also a very important thing regarding appropriateness. You must learn how to walk into a room and accept that room has a lighting, the furniture is a certain way, the food is set a certain way, people eat at a certain time depending on where that room is, that you must know what to do when you walk into a certain room. Otherwise it is inappropriate. It is a big issue and something that in our time people are getting very good at doing.
That?
People are getting very good at doing. The word is appropriateness. Culture is a very important issue. Be culturally aware of what is correct. And you find a lot of the issues in a most ironic way. A lot of the political issues become more complex because the level of cultural consciousness, the level of the way people are aware of each other is greater. Or not greater, but is acute in a different way regarding technology and, if you like, the speed at which information can move. This is the only thing of our time that is different from before.
Yeah.
It's the speed at which information moves. So it is about accepting the context of our time and realizing a lot of the issues are much more insidious than we think. And a lot of it has to do with a political culture that is very much rooted in all the old, if you like, imperial complexes, but they have been renovated and modernized. And they are now highly, highly sophisticated, supra-economic programs that are there to enable nation states and, if you like, big entities in order to acquire power,
Extract
power and wealth, and to feed the machines.
life force.
It is that. It is just where we are. It has always been this way, but it is now more sophisticated. That's all. The difference is now the natural environment and the resources of a human being, that people are much more aware of the value of life. The only issue is we don't have any, we have more people now who are radically aware of, so I was going to say something, but it is a mistake. More people now who are radically aware of the overall situation. So it is a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily change it. But my belief is that things are better than they were before. But there will always be issues, there will always be wars, there will always be, it is the human dilemma. It will always be this way because we are the same. But this is my view. It's not a popular view, but this is my view. Next question.
I'm good for now.
You're good.
Yeah.
Anything?
No, I'm good. That was fine.
The political culture that we're in is very, very special, very, very insidious. And there's a lot of a lot of this stuff happening in the background.
Yeah.
I think it's evil. I think that right now I think of Trump and Netanyahu and that whole whatever's happening. Yeah.
It's really, for me, an exposure. Like, this has been going on for a long time,
Yeah.
and the people in power have been this evil for a long time.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
these Palestinian people
Who are bearing,
have
yeah.
showed us. It's like they've taken the mask off for us.
Yeah.
Now the whole world is seeing things that were hidden before.
Mm.
And if you listen to MLK and those people, they were saying it.
Yeah.
Now people are realizing, oh, they were right.
Yeah.
And they're on some extreme far left. They're just saying the truth.
Yeah.
That's it. Now I think that the radical left is becoming the mainstream because we recognize what capitalism is.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
recognize the true nature of extractive, toxic, patriarchal extraction. So we're all starting to see what's been going on. Colonialism.
Mm.
It is neo supra-colonialism that has led to a situation whereby it is the same. This is the irony for me. It is a repeat of the same old imperial powers jousting for territory, wealth, and monopoly. That's all it is. But we now have an imperial power, or let me say, political power, that is rooted in a higher consciousness program. Meaning, they are rooted in the Deen of Muhammad. This is Iran. The entire culture is rooted in the heritage of the way of Muhammad.
But you know the Saudis and the Emiratis and even
But they are rooted in it.
Jamiat al-Ulama here
But this is not the same.
are
It is that
talking
they,
the rhetoric that they are not Muslim and the Shias must be killed and
the Iranian society is a vibrant, spiritually alive culture.
It's because they sold out to the Americans.
they sold out to them.
They sold out so badly that
And all these guys, this Mencken, all of them, they are so in the back pocket of the Americans that they, and the Saudis, so because they get their free trips and so they're not willing to speak out.
all of them have been compromised
Yeah.
by bribery or whatever. Even Egypt, you know.
Oh,
Al-Sisi,
absolutely.
You can't have much in Cairo.
No?
It is all, what you find is that all of it, if you really look at it, rooted in higher consciousness. They are all connecting to another zone. They are unbelievable. The Iranians are really,
Yeah.
it
No,
is a
we're
culture,
talking about the
it's a culture
Egyptians and
rooted
the-
in, go
They,
ahead.
they
go
have
ahead.
I don't think they are conscious at all. I think they've got
Well,
no
the
conscious.
river dries up and that's the end of the society.
In fact, I think for me it's very, it's, what's the word I'm using for, or looking for, it is reminiscent of the time of Fir'aun, you know, the Pharaoh, and you know, the same kind of godlike complex, and this is what they're doing, and they're going to meet their Moses, they are going to.
Talking about that earlier, the decay.
Yes.
And now we see what worse decay could you have than a paedophile elite.
Yeah.
Surely there's no worse you can go.
No.
But I don't like to say that because every time I say that, the IDF goes one step further than I could ever have imagined. People are, the depravity is.
That is what it is. They're not going to handle what the Iranians will do. Mark my words, but it is a very complex issue. They are not going to handle it. Amazing culture.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, that's our
Because
prayer.
when they're up against a lot. And there's so much fake news every time.
Yeah,
I
you're not
see
sure
that-
whether you're seeing the right
I
thing.
see these things and then I read on Al Jazeera that it's not actually going on. And
Yeah. So we're not sure what is really going
total
on.
erosion of truth. We can't.
And Trump lives in an alternate reality. I mean, he says one thing and says another thing and hears one thing and does something else. And
But guys, yeah, so we're living in a world of all of that, all of that illusion and Disorientation. A lot of people are just in survival mode,
That's it.
just coping.
Anyway, I need to
Thank
go
you.
and shower
Yeah, I
and
need
Thank
to
you.
go. I wanted to play a song because something you said